If you saw my last video, you'd see that I actually cut my nails. I chopped them really short for the last video to demonstrate the difference in sound, the difference in tone between playing with no fingernails and playing with fingernails. And I did this because I wanted to rediscover the sound of no nails again. And when you do something like this, something quite substantial like this, you have to kind of reset your technique again. And that's been what I've been doing since I filmed that video. So I've been doing a series of exercises and they're all really quite straightforward. And the concept here is to sort of rebuild the motor skills. Now I don't have that little bit of nail hanging off the end of my fingers. It just subtly changes the technique, but enough for me to need to work on it. Now these are a useful, simple set of exercises for anyone really. So I thought I'd demonstrate what I've been doing over the past few days. Now I've focused on two different techniques. The first one is Apoyando. Now I don't spend enough time really discussing this because this is really quite a powerful fundamental technique. And then the other technique I've been working on is my Tremolo technique. And that's the one that takes the most time and effort because, you know, that's quite a fast technique. It requires great accuracy as well. And that's the one that suffers the most when you do something substantial like cutting the nails off. But it's something that you can build up again, which is what I'm doing. So let's start by zooming in and we'll go through what I've been doing around the Apoyando technique or the rest stroke technique. I'll demonstrate the technique and I'll show you some really basic exercises that you can use and that I've been using over the past few days. Now it's no surprise that you'll find flamenco guitarists, classical guitarists, even bass guitarists use this as a fundamental technique because it's hugely versatile and it creates a great tone and great dynamics as well. So let's have a look at the technique in detail. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a string and then we're going to fall on the string below. So my index finger there is playing that note on the B string and landing on the G string. So if I turn my guitar, can you see that? And you can do this with any finger as well. Yeah? And that's the basic technique. Now you should be able to do this with every finger. It's worth working on each finger in turn. But what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the index and the middle finger. Like that. Just alternating between the index and the middle finger. Now you don't need to create any great speed, you just need to try and go for that evenness of tone to start with. And actually when I do things like this, I try and incorporate some kind of right hand pattern. So in this case I'd normally use an arpeggio, for example. Doesn't matter which, and in fact if you want to learn a new arpeggio, if you want to drill something, this is a great time to do that. But all we're going to do is we're going to play 4 notes and then shift to the next string. And it doesn't matter where you shift. And can you see I'm continuing that left, right, or index, middle, index, middle. So what I've been doing is pretty much this with a metronome, just drilling it for 5 minutes to start with, just to get the movement right. Not particularly fast, maybe no more, a little faster than that, but not much more. So that's the first thing I do. So that's just sort of a 5-minute warm-up exercise, getting my fingers used to playing the strings again, getting used to this Apoyando technique. And I would really recommend that you give that a go. Now once I've got that working, I do another 5-minute block. And this time what I do is I do descending lines. I take 3 notes on a string. So I'm using my 3 notes per string patterns. And again, it doesn't matter which one you do. but I try to play a little 3-note descending line like that. And can you see I'm using that same Apoyando technique, alternating index and middle finger. And again, this is a great time to start to focus on something about the right hand that you want to work on. It could be, like I'm doing here, 3 notes per string major scales, but just find something that's worth drilling. It could be melodic minor, harmonic minor, a position you don't know, or if you use my fragments technique to learn these notes, then just try drilling around the fragments and joining them up. Again, I do 5 minutes like that, and then I turn it around and do 5 minutes ascending. Yeah, just anywhere, just take it wherever you want to go. And that gives you a little sort of a 15-minute block. And again, what I would normally do is I'd just set my metronome to a nice moderate pace and just see if I can work through 5 minutes of one, 5 minutes of the other, 5 minutes of the other in a sort of a 15-minute practice block. So that's kind of what I've been doing to rediscover my Apoyando technique, or my rest stroke technique. Okay, so that was Apoyando. Hopefully that was useful for you. Now let's have a look at the Tremolo technique. So let's zoom in. So I'm assuming that you've checked out some of my other videos on this, but if you haven't, I'd recommend having a look at the Breaking Rules series of videos where I talk about this. But basically the tremolo is just this. It's just thumb, third, second, first, yeah? On one string, and you find as you get used to the technique you can get the speed up on it. So it's really quite a fast technique. Okay, so that's the tremolo technique. And so we're going to approach this very similarly to the way that we approach the Apoyando, and I've been doing exactly the same thing, so in 5-minute chunks again. So I start just by just moving the tremolo around. And you can hear my accuracy is just a little bit dodgy, and that's why I've been doing this. And again, all we're doing is we're just doing something with the right hand. As you can see, again, I'm using arpeggios just to find a way, just to start to drill the arpeggios. Just find something that you want to work on with your right hand, something that will change. So you play 8 notes on a string or 2 times around the pattern and then change position. And just see if you can get that nice and even and moving around. And again, I'm using a metronome and I'm playing for 5 minutes. Then once I've done that, I do exactly the same as before. I'll play 3 notes and then start moving the pattern around. Using this descending line to start with. And of course this creates some real challenges if you've never done it before. Because I'm continuing to do that thumb, third, second, first. So every string uses a different combination of left and right hand finger groupings, if you see what I mean. And this is what I talk about in that video, when I talk about using fixed finger patterns and why I do this. So if you want to know why we're doing this, even though it feels so awkward, then check that video out. And again, I'm not trying to go too fast. I'm just trying to get things moving again. So I do that for 5 minutes, and then just like before, I turn it around again. Any 3 notes per string pattern. Just freestyling like this. Okay, so that really is what I've been doing over the past few days. I've tended to do Apoyando for 15 minutes, then the Tremolo for 15 minutes, then take a break, and then come back again. I've been doing this with the metronome as well, so I've been steadily increasing the speed on the metronome, but keeping things slow enough for me to be able to focus on technique and tone rather than speed. And then over the time I'll let the speed come back up again as I get the accuracy without nails. But that's it. Anyway, hopefully that was useful for you, and we'll chat next time. Goodbye.